adverse information.
Exactly. So, and you won't know whether or not there might be an investigation going on behind the scenes. So if anyone tells you, oh yeah, there's no risk, you can go back, you can go get your stamp, no problem, and you can do it with the visa waiver, run in the other direction, because quite frankly, it's not like that. There's always going to be a risk.
This again, let's go back to this issue of a visa waiver. It's a new policy. In the past, what is used to be is that people who had the visas before, the 10-year multiple visa visitor or whatever, they want to renew it, the time is up, they still have to go for fingerprints and all that.
Right.
So now they have said there's a visa waiver program is available, especially visitor visas right now, and the other categories, H4 and we talked about, hopefully may get into the same plan. But now if they are applying for a renewal of the visa, if that old visa was issued after 2008, in the previous visa, which probably going to happen in 2014 onwards, not right now, probably those who applied for 8, they already have a 10-year visa, so up to 2012 probably.
Right.
So they will soon be applying. They don't have to go back. They don't have to go back for interview if the visa waiver is granted. Interview waiver, actually,
The
interview
waiver.
waiver. So they don't have to go for interview. They don't have to go for biometrics. They may be able to do through VFS and all that. So which is, and in a way, a lot of relief, as we said in a previous program. If H4 gets included, this problem will be much less. Because they'll be able to give a waiver on a clear case.
In a clear case, not
they
under
don't have to go even in the consulate.
No other, right, no other issues. But you raised an interesting point, and that is VFS. But I think that maybe, do we have a couple of minutes to be able to talk about VFS?
Let's talk about, that's a good point, VFS.
Yeah, actually we had an opportunity when we were in India to visit a couple of the VFS posts. I specifically had a chance to go to the VFS post in Mumbai just to get a feel for how VFS works. For most of you who have processed your visas for the United States.
Let me interrupt, sir. VFS stands for Visa Facilitation Service. In the old times, there was no VFS. So everything was done by the consulate, apply there, go there, interview date there, everything there. But then they had these outsourcing companies, not a part of the US government, and that helps the consular post in taking some burden away. So go ahead, please. Yeah.
Well, I think that VFS helps the this is the sense that I got from my discussions with the consular officers, and which you were privy to, is that I think that VFS gives them an opportunity to be more organized, right, because the information flow to the consulates is directed through various channels. The problem, I think that
the recent problem we are talking about,
right,
the change in the policy on communications.
Right. The recent issues is that we're finding that VFS is not necessarily communicating our concerns or the data that we're providing to them.
This is a change in the policy, David. Until very recently, you send an email to the consul or a congressional inquiry. Consul knows the case. Consul will directly inform the lawyers or to the congressman or the senator what is the position of the case,
right,
or whatever. Most likely correctly, at least talking about the same case, the inquiry is coming in.
Right.
Now there's a change in the policy that you were talking about. Go ahead.
Okay.
Change in the policy.
Right. But the communications are going directly to VFS, and then the problem
They say don't send it to us, right? Send it direct to VFS.
That's right. Send it
But
directly.
even if you send direct to them, they are sending to VFS to reply.
Exactly.
Now, what does VFS know about the case?
Well, that's the problem. And VFS are not lawyers, and they're not consular officers, and they don't know exactly, we don't know exactly whether they're just reading off scripts or what exactly is going on. So we're a little, unsettled, with the current situation, and we're going to try to take it to a higher level. So.
Well, we are running out of the time, and if you have any questions on this, feel free to contact us, and we'll try to give you more and more information on anything we are talking about. We thank you very much for watching the program. Thank you, David, for coming on the program. And don't forget to watch our next program next weekend, and you will get a lot of valuable information. Thank you very much, and goodbye. of Obama that have reduction or reduce the number of illegal immigrants coming in. The three things we talk about: economy, border patrol increases, the
yeah.
deportation,
Fine.
and about some people that are number of people. People think that all the people are coming from Mexico only, but they have seen that some percentage of the people are coming from other countries: Iraq, Afghanistan, India, other countries also.
Okay,
So
good.
that's why. So that's the one item, and we can talk about.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you guys watch small piece of David Letterman last night?
No, what
He
happened?
was talking about Obama's outsourcing of the jobs.
Yeah,
He said Obama has failed terribly because in Colombia,
Uh-huh.
where the scandal is going on, that job should have gone to American girls, not Colombian girls.
that's great.
Who was saying that?
David Letterman.
Columbia girls are cuter, though.
He said that was wrong. That job should have been
That's
done by
hilarious.
Americans.
That's hilarious. That's great. I like that.
I see. So that we'll talk about that. We talk about the district court decision 9B.
Okay.
Got to talk about visa waiver program. We already talked about.
Yep. I changed my
If
tie.
not two more, one definitely, and then we can
Yeah, I'm
introduce.
just going to change my tie because
Let's-
do you want mine or?
I have
You have a
I have
tie?
extra
All
tie.
right. Hold on one second. That's good. Perfect. Okay, good. Perfect.
Ready?
Yep, all set.
I'll start at the Mother's Day and then we talk about India trip articulation.
Articulation.
But what are other things that the India trip we talk about?
Just clear articulation, and let's see, articulation.
Plan in advance like OOP. We talked about O&P, so you must plan well in advance.
Don't bringing documents.
Yeah, they don't look at the document.
Right.
You can bring the
You
documents.
can bring the documents,
They know-
but be
they know.
prepared to answer the 3 questions, and they're going to make a decision
So
not
we can
with-
talk these few points about India trip and the Senators Congress, but it comes in the myths also, but they also said, all the inquiries, we already talked about that, so
Right.
basically.
Well, we talked about that on deviation. We talked about that on deviation, not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Articulate was.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Mother's Day.
I have,
You have a
I have
time?
extra
All
time.
right.
I didn't do that. Oh, I was fixing that. Yeah. Hello, viewers. Welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney, Michael Fulwani, and once again, we have with us attorney David Nachman.
Thank you so
David,
much,
welcome.
Michael. Thank you.
Before we start the program, we want to wish you, all the mothers, a very happy Mother's Day weekend. I'm sure David wants to join me on that.
Yes, I'd like to wish all the mothers who are viewers, loyal viewers of ours, a very, very happy Mother's Day weekend.
All right, we were talking about our trip to India in the last 2 programs. We talked about our trip to India. We went to Chennai, we went to Mumbai, we went to New Delhi, we went to Jaipur. Jaipur was a pleasure trip actually. And Agra was to show him Taj Mahal. So David had a lot of fun. And we were talking about our meetings with the American consulates in the previous programs. Couple of other things that I think are very important also for you to know. Let David start that and I'll put my comments in there.
I think that one of the most stunning remarks by the consular officer was by the consular officers, because this is something that sort of was consistent throughout all of our meetings with the consular officers in all of the offices, is that they want the applicants to clearly articulate, and they kept using the word articulation, to clearly articulate what the reason was for their trip, what the timing was going to be for their trip, where they were going to be staying on their trip to the United States. So when they mean articulation, what they're talking about is, while they know that a lot of people will show up at the window with a lot of documents, what they don't want is they don't want the individuals to take all the documents, stick them under the window, and say, this is why I'm coming. And that's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is the officers are going to ask several questions, and then what they want to do is they want to hear the responses of the applicants, which are directed toward those questions. So not offering any more information, of course, and not offering any less information, because when you talk to a government official, you're only supposed to answer the questions that they ask, of course. And so with that, they said it should be clearly articulated. Now, what I'm not saying is don't bring the documents with you. We're certainly saying bring the documents with you to support the articulation, because the officer does have the ability to say, well, what documents do you have? And then, of course, you can pull out those documents and show them to the officer. However, you have to be ready to clearly articulate the reasons why you're coming to the United States.
Let me say how it started. I told the consular officers, actually both talked about that people that were coming for interview, whether the visitor visa, the student visa, H-1B visa, any visa, they have this, not impression, they have the understanding that they must carry all the documentation, because many times the consular say, I am not satisfied that you are really a bona fide non-immigrant, or you should get eligible for the type of visa that you are applying for. So these people work very hard, put together. They have been told by travel agents, by attorneys, by many friends, you must take the tax returns, property documents, and everything else. So people take lots of documents. They spend a lot of time, 2 months, 3 months, collecting all the documents. When they come for the interview, you say, I do not see no papers. You say, what? I mean, have all these papers I've brought? He says, no, it's not necessary. Let me just ask you a few questions. And then you deny or you issue or whatever you do. Why is that so? Why don't you look at the papers and make an intelligent decision? Their answer was, Mr. Dek Nachman, Mr. Fulwani, you have no idea. Do you have idea how many people apply every day? 800, 700, and one place it was at that 1500.
1400.
1400 persons outside the line, and the consul says openly, he says, yes, you are right. We do not want to look at the documents unless we believe that it would help us in some way. We are able to make the decisions based upon a very brief interview. The standard time generally is 3 minutes, and they could take more time and less time in some cases. Some cases were previously denied 2 or 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. They go in, they say, what's new? Come on, I don't see anything here. Boom, maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're completely wrong, because if they have 100 windows and maybe 200 officers and each one can spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe, but that's not going to happen. So this is one of the reasons. So what David says, which I join him, that you take the document. Suppose the consul says, let me see your financials. Oh, I didn't bring any. Then that's it. So it's very, very, very important to understand articulation. By articulation means, in a very briefly, you can just explain very clearly as to what the purpose is, how long you want to stay, why you are going there, and all that. So that's very, very important for people, and doesn't apply necessarily in visitor visa. Visitor visa, they want to know where do you want to go, why you want to go. You are in the month of January, it's all snow there. So what's the purpose? And the person keeps on looking like this, okay, denied. He doesn't have more time to spend. The person is smart, articulate. He can explain why my brother is there and he has got a vacation for a month and he want to go to cruise or something. Quickly explain. And what do you do? I work here. This is my job. This is my income. I'm married. I have a child. Whatever it is, be upfront very quickly, 2-3 minutes with confidence, smiling, and that's appearance. Look in the eyes of the consul, not this way, not that way, and answering the questions, because I've been saying, yeah.
I think, Michael, you make a really good point, and I think that we have to explain to our viewers that when we say articulation, the next logical part of the analysis is, well, how do I prepare myself for that articulation? And there are a couple of different ways to do it. Of course, many of our viewers, I'm sure, are reading in the chat rooms on the web about what types of questions you're going to be asked, and that's fine. However, be aware that sometimes there's very good information on the web and there's sometimes very bad information on the web. We have an affiliated office in Mumbai where we have individuals who are sort of on the ground, and they help to prepare individuals to articulate reasons why they're coming to the United States. So we have that ability. We also, and on the screen right now, you'll see the Mumbai office address being flashed there. Please feel free to contact us at info@visaserve.com, and we can put you in touch, of course, with the individuals in our affiliated office in Mumbai who can help you to understand what the elements are of this articulation that we're referring to. We can also help you here in the United States before your trip back to India for a visit at the U.S. Consulate. We do that for our non-immigrant visa or our immigrant visa applicants, so that they understand what types of questions they're going to be asked, what the U.S. consul is interested in. We're not coaching. That's not what we're doing. We're not telling you what to say. We're helping you to understand what you're trying to get across to the consular officer. And what we're also trying to do is to help you become less nervous. We're helping you to do a little hand-holding so that you don't feel as nervous. Like Michael said, when an individual is standing in front of the window and just smiling and the officer is firing questions, that doesn't work. You have to be ready to answer the questions that the officer is firing at you.
See, other reason, when we're talking about why they don't want to look at the documents, credibility. The consular officers say that they don't really believe, sometimes they don't want to say that, but I know in the past this has happened. They don't trust the documents, and I tell you about incidents. I remember maybe 10 or 15 years ago, one of the consulate officers were interviewing people. Somebody came in with the papers, tax returns, wealth tax returns, property in Delhi in a Connaught Place or Mumbai in a Malabar Hill. Oh my God, he's a rich guy, no problem, boom. After 1 hour, another client comes in. Oh, he's also very big, very good. Issued. Third comes in, the consul says, oh my God, looks at the same 2 cases, more or less, same type of papers. What's going on here? So he said, okay, hold on. Put a hold on, and then he talked to this chief, and then they grilled the person. They told him, tell the truth, because we're going to investigate all your papers. He said, yes. They are all fraud. They are one person, I paid 2 lakh rupees, and he made it all for me. So this is one example. Another example, I know, real case in New Delhi. I know that case. There was a student who applied for the visa, and the visa was denied. And I think his uncle was a surgeon here, and a lot of politicians he was treating. So he told the uncle that this has happened, then he put a word in. So they called him again for second interview. And he said, but tell me, you want more documents, tell me what do you need? I can bring those documents. The consular officer was a new young guy, elderly, a more experienced consular officer wouldn't have said that. But he said, listen, I'll give you an example. Let us say you have a grandfather who has already made a will. That upon my death, all my property goes to my grandson as long as he's permanently settled in India. That will show that this person is definitely going to come back. He says, no problem. He goes next day to the grandfather, Grandpa, I need you to make a will. He said, what do you want? Should I will? He said, that will help me to get a visa. So when the court made a will, go to a lawyer, next 3 days, 4 days, knocks the door. Consul, I'm here, here's the will. He said, what are you talking about? Who are you? What will? I said, I came for an interview, you told me if there's a will, then you will give the visa. So that means they can manufacture, they can make any kind of, once you tell them I need this, A, B, C, and D, next day they will bring A, B, C, D, and D, real or phony or whatever it is. But they say we don't want to look at, we are not going to tell you to make anything. We want to see the reality. In real, whatever you have, bring that information or talk about that. We want to know what you do, what your work, are you married, are you single, what your financial position, what business you do, what job you do. If you are going on a business trip, who are the people that you want to meet, what are the kind of business you have, why do you want to go, why you can another person, the company is sending a young guy they hired last month. He said, why they are saying a fresh job, he's going to send to US like that. So basically all the things that when David was saying articulate.
Exactly.
That's what you're talking about, articulate.
I think just as a follow-along to what Michael's saying, when Michael and I were in Mumbai, we made a presentation to the Indo-American Society, and we had a really nice turnout of people for that presentation. I would say about 50 people.
70, 80 people.
Yeah, 70, 80 people in the Indo-American Society in Mumbai. And at that time, there was also an officer from the U.S. Consulate in Mumbai who attended that program. And with his help, which, by the way, I thought was an excellent opportunity for us to interface with the officer in an informal setting, to be able to explain, to help the officer explain to the people what it is that they're really looking for. And one of the things that came out of that is, number one, don't commit fraud. Because if you do and you get caught, you're going to be barred from any and all benefits in the future. So that's number one, right. Very important. And he, I think, echoed our words, which is what we were telling everyone, is don't lie, tell the truth. As difficult as the truth might be, tell the truth and deal with the truth. So that's number one. Number two, that also came out of that discussion, I think, was that the officer was tremendously helpful in getting us to understand how the process worked, and for us to understand that they're just doing their jobs. It's not personal. It's just a matter of they're trying to do their jobs, we're trying to do our jobs. So it's a matter of cooperation. So everyone has to cooperate to make the process run smoothly. So, so with that,
that basically what in that discussion that you are talking about, also we talked about Section 214B,
yes.
And he said that, listen, we did not make the laws. The laws are made by the Congress. We as officers of the U.S. government have to follow the law. What the textbook says. Book says that you, Mr. Consular Officer, you should interview every person and you should make a decision whether this person has overcome the presumption of intending immigrant. The section of 214B says every person in most of the categories, barring H or L, visitor, student visas, J1 visas, burden of proof is upon the applicant to prove to the consul that I am going to come back and I will do what I am saying. If I am a student, I am going to study. If I am a tourism, I will do tourism, nothing else. I won't work illegally in the US. I will sit back there in the US with my brother and say, you have to prove to me. Now, if you are not able to prove me, even if I feel sympathize, sometimes they say I sympathize. The father is sick, mother is sick. Sometimes in funeral cases they have denied. They say, yes, we are sympathetic. But you are not able to explain to us in articulating way that you really are going to come back. And if you cannot do that, I have no option. I have to follow the law. So this is very, very important, that you must understand the consular officer has no personal grudge against you or the applicant. He doesn't know, he is seeing the first time. Why would he just deny for no reason?
That's right.
Because he doesn't sincerely, he doesn't believe it. Now that doesn't mean they don't make wrong decisions, they do. Lot of times, I have seen our people from Gujarat going in and their English is not good, they don't understand, the pronunciation is a problem, and therefore they're nervous also, as you talked about nervousness. You should insist then, if that's the situation in the beginning, that you want an interpreter.
Right.
Because some people try to think, David, that if I say I know English, there's more chance of getting the visa. But when they go and the interview in English,
we're running out of time, Michael, but I really just one thing that's very, very important, which you've pointed out in the past, is especially on visitor visa applications, do it right the first time, right? Can
Very
you explain
important.
to our viewers what do we mean by that?
well, basically, once you have a first denial, second denial is going to happen, third is going to happen. In very few cases, they will reverse it. But the consul always say, what's new, what's new? If you don't have anything new, why you want me to change my earlier decision? I think we don't have any more time today, but I hope this program was very helpful to many, many of yours. We thank you really very much,
I'm
David,
sure it
for on the
was.
program, and thank you all of you. Once again, a very happy Mother's Weekend.